Perfect. Okay, welcome. I have three head coaches from Lewis and Clark with me today. I'd like to go around. Coach Emily, can you lead us off? And then Kristina second, and then Aaron, you can go third.
Awesome. Hi, everybody. I'm Emily. I'm the head volleyball coach here at Lewis and Clark. I've been the head coach now. I just finished my second season, and then I spent one season as an assistant before that. Yep, that's all I got.
Hey, I'm Kristina Williams. Team calls me Coach K, and this is my going into my third season as the head coach at Lewis and Clark. I was the assistant for 2 years before that, and then I'm also an alum of Lewis and Clark and played 4 years of basketball there too.
And hey, I'm Aaron Campbell. I'm the head track and field coach here at Lewis and Clark College. Just finished what would have been my first year as head coach at Lewis and Clark. This is my 10th year coaching. Was at Emory University before here, 4 years, and also my 4th year at Lewis and Clark.
Awesome. Coach Emily, can you, I'm going to jump right in. First question, what is your team culture like? What makes it special? Can you kind of just take us through what the culture is like right now for LC volleyball?
Yeah, where to start? I think that we, teams and programs have life cycles, right? And some are further along or in development stages or things like that. We've spent the last couple of years really developing a culture that we're proud of and that we all have ownership over. We had the opportunity to have a new coaching staff come together, and we've been all together now for 2 seasons. We have a team of really motivated and dedicated young women, and they have taken a ton of pride in the creation and kind of maintainment of this culture. If you were to ask them, they would say that the standards are very, very high, and we talk a lot about being crispy, being early wherever we're going, having a lot of respect for anybody else who we interact with. And then also just being able to kind of find this delicate balance between fun and focused, and making sure that we are, being disciplined and holding ourselves to those high standards while also appreciating every moment and enjoying the game for what it is. Coach
K, same question for you, team culture.
Yeah, I mean, kind of to piggyback off what Emily said, I think every team across the country is kind of in a unique spot, right? And I would say where we're at right now is I really feel like we've laid the foundation a little bit the last 2 years. We've really put a ton of work into building our culture, and I'm really excited about the group that we have returning next season, as well as our incoming freshmen for next year. And so, I'm excited to see next season what we're able to do with that foundation that we've built. Some key, verbiage that we use in our program, respect is always one of them, respecting each other, the coaching staff, all the personnel that supports them, as well as, we use the words PIO mentality and PIO focus, and those mean a variety of different things, but always loving the game, always trying to have a growth mindset. And then with the focus piece of it, always communicating and having energy on the court are some big things for us.
Coach Aaron?
Yeah, I think our team culture is really evolving. I think as a first-year head coach here, but someone who's been in the program for 4 years, I'd say our culture is definitely shifting right now. We also have a new head cross-country coach who also serves as the assistant distance coach during the spring season. So that's been an element that we've kind of navigated as we've tried to shift our own culture. I think every year the culture is a little bit different in our program because we're working with different athletes. We have different goals, and we kind of have we try to let the team kind of drive what aspects of the culture we really want to highlight that year. There are definitely some consistent attributes that we carry with us through every year. I think the most important thing that I think we try to do as a coaching staff is we really try to treat each athlete as an individual. We look at each athlete in terms of who they are, what their background is. I think one of the unique things in track and field is some people come from different programs. Some people have different strengths. Some people have more years of experience. Some people do different sports in high school. And, we really try to hone in on what each person brings to the program and, how we can help them be the best that they can be. and then having a great team. We try to mesh those things together, and having a great team's a byproduct of having each athlete reach their own individual potential. But in terms of our own culture, it shifts every year because we're working with different students. But I think for right now, we're evolving in a really positive way.
Anyone that wants to jump in here, what does an in-season day look like for your team? And maybe go sport specific. So what are some of the sports activities that a player would do on your team on a normal day?
I'll go first. So on an in-season day, did you say game day or just any in-season day?
Let's go practice day.
Practice day. Okay. So, I mean, Monday through Friday, our, team always has classes. So they're going to wake up, get their breakfast in, head to classes. And a lot of classes at Lewis and Clark are somewhere in the hour ranges of like 9 to 3. Those are the most common. We definitely have some night classes, but not quite as many. So, they're in classes a lot of the day. They'll eat lunch in the cafeteria or the trail room at some point. On a lift day, they might be getting a lift in with a small group at some point throughout the day. And then we will head to practice. A lot of times we start practice with film. So we'll be watching film in our film room, either of a game we just played or of an opponent we have coming up. And then we'll head up into the gym for a hour and a half to 2 hour practice. And then after practice, a lot of times they'll head to the athletic training room to get their ice bath in or other treatment that they need for lingering injuries or injury prevention. And then they'll grab dinner and study, hopefully.
Want to add anything, Coach Emily, Coach Aaron?
No, I mean, I think Coach K covered a lot of it, and that can be pretty standard for a lot of our teams. Some will watch more film than others. We watch a lot of film as well. We watch a lot of film in small groups individually. The only thing that I guess I can add that's a little bit volleyball specific is talking a little bit about our preseason. So we come in a couple of weeks, depending on the calendar, a couple of weeks before school starts, and we have a pretty rigorous preseason where we are having 2 to 3 practices a day. They're getting comfortable lifting and doing a lot of team bonding, taking advantage of the fact that we are not in class yet. And then that will kind of shift as we start classes into a more structured format in the afternoons, like Kristina said.
Yeah, we're a little bit different on the track ends. I think our sport is a little bit more unique because it's so individually driven. We don't do a ton of film work during the season. We try to do a lot of that kind of in our practice format. So I think with us, we do a lot of filming at practice. So we kind of break it down. And part of that is like part of our culture in terms of how we try to drive that kind of collaborative setting. And we do that kind of in the time frame of when we have practice in the afternoon. But yeah, I think one thing that we do here with our program in terms of like in-season stuff is we really try to kind of have certain themes that we're really trying to hit on during the day. So when we meet as a team before practice, we kind of go over the whole plan, and they should know like what all the themes that we're trying to hit on the day. So for us, like if we have certain, like a sprinter in our program, like, hey, this is our max speed day. This is what we're trying to focus on. This is what practice looks like. This is how we can kind of maximize it. And then we have a day like that for all the different components that we're trying to touch on in a week. So that way we can be most prepared on our competition days.
Nice. Okay, moving forward, what do you guys enjoy about the Northwest Conference? What makes it special to you and your team?
I can start. I think having coached in a lot of other conferences that were different geographically, I really like our travel schedule for the Northwest Conference. We are very, very centrally located, and for most of our conference matches, we are traveling within an hour, just around an hour. We go up to Tacoma twice, and then, which is about 2.5 hours away. And then we have one big trip where we're going out to Eastern Washington, and that's an overnight. But compared to some other conferences I've coached in where every single weekend we are on the road and staying in hotels, And I know that Aaron can speak to that being in the UAA. It's very nice from a student workload perspective to not have to have that much missed class time within it. And then the other thing for the conference itself is, from a volleyball specific angle, is we just have some amazing volleyball coaches in our conference, and it's definitely a treat to be able to get along so well with all of them.
Coach
Aaron,
K,
you wanna
Coach
go?
Aaron, anything you want to add to that?
Yeah, I'll go. I think for our sport, it's really exciting to be in the Northwest Conference. I mean, being in the Northwest in general, you're in the hub of competitive track and field, so it's something that's really kind of built into our culture up here. So you every year there's different students who come into the league that are national champion caliber that choose the Northwest Conference because they love to run the Pacific Northwest. So that's always exciting. And we have national championship teams in our conference. We have national championship athletes in our conference. So every meet that you go to, you're really competing against the best. I think one thing that's really exciting as far as Lewis and Clark, and Emily definitely touched on this, is that from a student athlete perspective, because you're in the hub, you don't have to travel very far to find that national level competition, which is exciting because you can, as a student, you can go and you can compete against the number one person in the country in the morning. And then in the afternoon, you can do all the other things you want to do as a student. And I think the way our conference is set up geographically it really helps us with that.
Yeah, and I'll just add specifically on the women's basketball side, the Northwest Conference is tough competition. It's, from top to bottom, every night is a game, and you see that just across the conference every, Friday, Saturday. Generally, we'll have 2 to 3 teams in the top 25 for women's basketball, which is always really cool to see. We obviously get our automatic bid through our conference tournament, and then, every year that I've, been a part of the Northwest Conference, there's been at least 1 or 2 teams getting at-large bids. So, you have 2 or 3 teams making it to March Madness, which is really cool to see. And, this year, I will give a shout out to both Whitman and George Fox. They made the Sweet 16 for our conference. So that kind of shows you the caliber of teams that we're going up against, nightly in our conference. And they obviously weren't able to finish off their season, but it was a pretty cool run to watch.
Awesome. Moving on, do you guys have any tips or advice for recruits, either when contacting college coaches or just in general, in the recruiting process?
Yeah, I'll go. I think one of the most important aspects you can have as a recruit in terms of looking at the school is know what school you're contacting and kind of the attributes that you like about the school. It's always great to be a really talented athlete, but in the college experience, being an athlete is one component. Knowing what the coach is like, knowing what the team is like, knowing what things you like about that program, those are definitely specifics that you should already know when you're contacting a coach, but also, what majors the institution has, what you like about that, where it's located, like all these aspects are things that you can always do on the front end. And then finding all those components and piecing them together with the coach in the recruiting process, those are things that can only kind of add clarity to your search. But, you can always do research on the front end, and, having a coach kind of put the icing on the cake for you. Those are all things that you should know as you're going into it.
Yeah, and I'll add, I actually saw a tweet from our baseball coach at Lewis and Clark, Matt Kosturka, the other day, or I think he retweeted something, but it was about recruit questionnaires and how today's, in today's age of social media, to not look past recruit questionnaires if coaches are asking you to fill those out. I know personally for me, it's easier to receive our recruit questionnaire from a recruit early on than a, 4-paragraph email. I'll read through it, but the recruit questionnaires, has specific questions that are super helpful for us early on in the game of the recruitment process. So that would be a early tip I would give recruits.
Yeah, everything that they said, I would just add, I guess, on Coach K's with volleyball specifically, we really need the email, and we need the film that you're attaching to it. especially, right now, in the time that we are in, and with the coronavirus and everything, this is tough on you 2021 recruits. And this is the time when we would be seeing you guys play every weekend. And so, you guys can be doing things on that end, and you can be sending the coaches that you're interested in, any film that you have, even if it's just as recent as you can make it. We want to see you playing, and we want to see the in-betweens and things like that. So I would just, really take that piece of advice and run with it, and make sure that you're having meaningful conversation with the coaches that you are interested in.
Awesome. Final question. Can you name some qualities, characteristics of student athletes that have really succeeded on your teams at Lewis and Clark?
I think a big one is just someone who is bought in. And that's something that you can be doing in the recruiting process, is really doing your homework to get to know a program, a team, the players, the coaches, and see if that's something that you want to buy into. It's really hard to be a part of something when you're not committed to it and passionate about it. And so I think that some of the most successful students that we've had have just been passionate about, building something special, and realizing that the whole thing about sports is that it's bigger than yourself. And you're trying to leave a legacy and make a program better for the people, coming after you than the ones before you. And so I think that, just making sure that you're ready to go above and beyond, and, dive in head first.
Yeah, I would say the biggest, characteristic for me would be being intrinsically motivated. I would say if you're a, high schooler right now, asking yourself, are you getting your workouts in, right? Are you spending 15 minutes a day working on ball handling in the garage? Are you getting shots up, if you can right now? All those sort of things are super important. In today's age, most high school coaches, most club coaches are sending workouts, pretty much daily, or, giving you summer packets and all that sort of stuff. And again, asking yourself, are you doing them? Because if you're not doing them, then it's going to be hard to make that transition when you get to college and getting yourself to do it, then. So I think that's one unique thing about D3. In our off seasons, we can provide you the workouts, but we can't require you to be there. So a lot of, what makes someone, grow from their freshman season in college to their senior year in college is how intrinsically motivated they are to, just get better every day. So I would say that's a big one.
I think for here at Lewis and Clark in particular, I think the most successful students are engaging. And I think that has a couple different meanings. There's obviously like the engaging component of engaging with your coaches and teammates, but the best student athletes we've had as far as just being successful in terms of however we define it for each person, they engage with campus, they engage with their classmates, their professors, they engage with the city of Portland. I think that one of the cool things about Lewis and Clark is that it's a great school. There's a ton that it offers, but those things don't matter as much if you're not being involved with them, or you don't like where you're at, and if you don't engage with it, if you don't engage with the city of Portland, if you don't kind of talk with your classmates and see all the great things that it has to offer, then you're missing out. And I would say the most successful student athletes that we've had in the program are the ones that do everything they can and really try to maximize their 4-year experience, and that includes athletics. And I would say for those students that do it, they are super successful, both in the athletic arena and the academic arena.
Awesome. Any final words?
Thanks, Scott, for moderating.
All right, that wraps it up. I appreciate you guys taking the time.
Thank you.
Thank you.